Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It is Monday. It's the day that Ange's train is a little bit derailed, I think it's safe to say this morning. There's a lot of calls for people jumping off the Ange train, but we will get into that. Jimbo, how are you doing this fine Monday morning? You're muted, and it's lovely.
I'm not. You thought I was, but I wasn't.
Wow, you are a comedic genius, Jimbo. That was hilarious. Dear oh Lord. So anyway, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, good. Yeah,
God.
bunged up again for this epoxy hay fever. I can't get rid of it. It's not even sunny or flowers are out, is it? But I've still
got it. It's actually raining. I don't know if Jen knows, but it's raining. So
she does,
not nice.
She just swore and ran to the washing line.
Oh, so she knows. And Mr. Chang, how are you after a fun-filled weekend?
Now it's been a weekend of mixed emotions, and it's had its ups and downs, and I'm very, very glad all the same that there were more personal ups for me rather than the collective down. That was the disappointing result from 24 hours earlier. But I mean, this is being expected, honestly, from the evolution and also the growth of Big Ange and the squad. And I'm sure we'll get into the analysis of yesterday's match as well as the other results of the weekend. But lots to get into, lots to talk about. And without further ado, let's begin the show with gusto.
Mr. Nicholas, Mr. Big Time, will be here, but as like big time people do, he's on his own time. So we shall see him when we see him, but he has had to take one of his kids to the orthodontist, so we'll let him off. But before we start, we have got Shemtan in the house saying, good morning, Princess Kate, Sir Jimbo, Mr. Royale Senior, and the youngest looking old man, Mr. Chang. Hope you're all well today after a very deflating game yesterday. Yes, we are well, but I agree that's the perfect word, deflating. That is very, very true. Big up, Drew La La. Hope you're doing well. Munsy's here. Big up to you. Says, I'm not sure into football anymore after United got hammered. I need help. We're in more of a state than you lot. Yes, we will get into that demolishing that you received yesterday. Big up, Angus. Mr. 65% is in the house. I'm pretty sure you said you were going to win. I think you was 100%, or was that about Tottenham? I can't remember. But anyway, I'm surprised you didn't bring on Mbappe, Gyökeres, and all the other superstars that you signed this window. Oh, hang on. Sorry. Big up to you, Jolly Bethnal Green. Hope you're doing well. Munsy's still pleading for us to send help. Big up, Anthony Clark. Jimbo wrong about another prediction on Spurs winning a game. There's a surprise. It's like, is the Pope Catholic? The Bears shit in the woods. Does Jimbo make stupid predictions? They all go together as one. It is what it is. Oh, right, no need to say it was a demolition. Wow, it really was, wasn't it? Completely unexpected for Man United to roll over and get their tummies tickled quite that much. But as I say, we will get into it. Druda says, I was confident going into that game until I had two magpies in my fruit tree laughing. Well, it sounded like they were. Damn magpies, you should have shot them. Shot them with an air rifle. We should have won, but we wasn't clinical enough. Yeah, Angus, obviously we will get into that as well. Very controversial things happening at Arsenal on Saturday. Before we do, just a little bit of news that came through this morning that Saudi Arabian club have offered 35 million euros for Leandro Trossard. Jimbo, I really rate this guy. I would absolutely have loved him to have him at Spurs. Do you see now that Arsenal have got Sterling in on loan, them letting Trossard go?
I'll be very surprised if they let him go, Kate. He's like their super sub, isn't he? So I would, in a nutshell, without going into too much detail, say no, they won't let him go.
Chang, do you agree with Jimbo that Arsenal will hang on to this guy?
I mean, I honestly I can't see them weakening their squad, given how they've, thrown away 2 points now over the weekend against Brighton, Hove and Albion. So, and also the previous weekend, if you remember, when the score was still tied between Villa and Arsenal, it was Trossard who came off the bench and scored with his first touch of the game in that 2-0 win for them over Villa. So for me, it makes absolute no sense to let one of their better players leave now that they will definitely need all the help that they can muster. So yeah, I think it will take an impossible or even a very crazy offer for them to even consider letting him leave.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see. Apparently, Arsenal have rejected it. I don't see Arsenal letting him go. He is such a good super sub to have. To think Tottenham had a chance of signing him back in the day. But yeah, it was interesting. But I don't see Arsenal letting him go. But we'll see. Yusuf, the Liverpool fan, obviously had a perfect weekend. Beyond 72 saying Rice kicked away 2 points. We were sloppy yesterday at Newcastle. You guys must be happy Arsenal are going to be without Marino and Rice for the North London derby. Happy is probably an understatement. I'm bloody delighted. So we might as well start right there, actually, for the first game of the weekend. Expected it to be a cracker. It was a good game. Chang, did you watch any of it? Or, with all the controversy surrounding the red card, what's your thoughts on the game?
So I believe on Friday, I predicted this to be a draw because I know Brighton do have a few tricks up their sleeves, and I very nearly got my 2-2 draw, but unfortunately it was only tied at 1-1. But we'll start with the controversy, okay? If the referee deems that Rice has indeed kicked the ball away and prevented the fast free kick being taken, then by the letter of the law, it's a yellow card. But in the context of the build-up to it, maybe it was a bit harsh because there was contact as well between a Brighton player who tried to take the quick free kick and Trossard, who then nudged the ball with the slightest of touches. He was very petulant, very uncharacteristic of him, shall we say, for Declan Rice to do something like this. So by the letter of the law, it still is a yellow nonetheless, and 2 yellows equals to a red, but maybe the referee should have shown some leniency, because the moment the red card was shown, the moment the second yellow was shown and the red card was flashed, it completely changed the complexion of the game. And you could see that immediately from that red card as well, Brighton then were in the ascendancy and they got their equalizer soon after. But credit to Arsenal too. Credit to Arsenal, credit to Arteta, and also to all the players. I thought they actually had the better chances to win the game, despite going down to 10 men. That's how good Arsenal are right now, despite being down to 10 and being packed back to a 1-1 scoreline. They were still looking the more dangerous. And to be fair, I think they should have won it. They had more than the fair chances to win the game. But for their goalkeeper, good, well done to him. Some great point-blank saves as well to deny Arsenal all 3 points. And this is, I think, something that Spurs have to take into consideration for the upcoming North London derby, because yes, they will be without Declan Rice. They are also going to be without Mikel Merino, but they were also without these 2 players against Brighton and Hove Albion, and yet they still look like the more likely of the 2 teams to score. And I think it will come as no surprise to me that they are still the favourites for the North London derby, if I may say so myself. But for this particular fixture, cracking game, it's good for us, in which they are packed back a bit, and it does give us that glimmer of hope that we might be able to get something in the coming North London derby. But I'm not going to hold my breath just yet.
Yeah, sensible, very sensible. Anthony said it was the right decision. I'm just frustrated with the inconsistency from the refs. Jimbo, I know you were up in arms on the day, even despite us being Spurs fans. What did you make of the red card and the match?
I'm going to put it in plain English, right? It's the biggest load of bollocks I've ever seen on a football pitch, right? Pedro kicked the ball away about 50, 60 yards and never even got spoken to, right? And Rice, did he kick it away or did it just hit his foot? And then he got kicked in the back of the leg. And I mean, I've watched that. I've watched that maybe 10, 12 times, and I cannot see in anything. And I've read what people have put about it being letter of the law, and I've watched them on TV saying it was harsh and all that, but it's the letter of the law. Did he kick it away or did it hit his foot and bounce off? But look, it went 2 foot. Is that kicking the ball away 2 foot? We've seen players kick the ball away 10 foot, 12 foot, 20 yards and not get a yellow card. Pedro in the first half kicked the ball back to his keeper, practically from the halfway line, and never even got spoken to. I'm sorry. I see Drula just put he sneakily did, Jim. If he sneakily did kick it away, Drula, it was like 1 foot, 2 foot. Is that? I mean, that's just pathetic. That's just refs, right? For me, going way, way over the top. He got kicked in the back of the leg after. The other guy should have been booked, right? And I don't want Arsenal to win by any stretch of the imagination. But to me, that's one of the biggest loads of crap I've ever seen on a football pitch. It was just, it's to me, it brings the game down, Kate. That's
but to be fair, if you read what Jose says, you can't twist it. Rules are rules. Pedro kicked the ball whilst it was out of play. Rice did it when the ball was in play. Rules are rules.
Did he kick the ball away or did it touch his foot? They'd have to go to VAR. They'd have to go to VAR to check that. He didn't actually. His foot didn't actually go sideways. His foot was still going forward. I'm sorry, I can't have it, and I don't care what anybody says to me. Right? I will never, ever, ever be convinced that that's a yellow card and sending off. I'm sorry.
Big up, Mr. Chang. Listen, if
that happened to a Tottenham player, we would be screaming our bollocks off.
I watched it. I would have liked to have seen it from a different angle. The angles, they kept showing the same angle. For me, if you go by the letter of the law, maybe it is a sending off. But for me, this is where a bit of common sense comes into it. And that, I just think, was ridiculous as a sending off. Even as a yellow card, if it had been his first yellow, it's a ridiculous booking. Never, ever, ever a red card, in my opinion. However, I'll take it all day long because it means Rice isn't in the North London derby.
Right, can I just say, right, Jose said that the ball was out of play when Pedro kicked it back to his keeper, but it still wasn't his ball to kick back. It was their ball.
But when it's out of play, it doesn't matter.
He still kicked the ball away, and I won't have it and in any way whatsoever that was a yellow card and sending off. And I'm sorry, and you're right, it has done us a right favour, but it brings the game down as far as I'm concerned, massively.
I thought originally that Rice was sent off because he sort of went down like he'd been shot when Veltman barely touched him. I thought it was for dissent. But when they said what it actually was, I was absolutely shocked. But it is what it is. It's happened. We've had decisions go against us, like when Lucas Moura was fouled and handballed the ball and they gave it to the other team. There's been loads of things, but I just think sometimes as a ref, there should be a little bit of common sense, and there wasn't. Pedro kicked the ball halfway down the pitch to Arsenal from taking a quick throw in. So in essence, it's the same. What was you going to say, Jim?
How far away did the ball go?
6 inches.
I mean, look, let's have a bit of common sense here. If you're going to start booking people for that, what about all these barging people over and they do play on, and some of the things that happen on a football pitch? To give somebody a yellow card for that, it just, to me, it drags the game down and puts the game backwards. It was absolutely pathetic. If that was a Tottenham player, I'll be screaming about that for 6 months.
As Beyond says, they also had a player booked last season for the same offence. It is the rules, but some refs choose to not follow it letter of the law and some do, and that's where the problem lies, the inconsistency. Big up Smithy says, red card or not, it was absolutely beautiful to see. Big up yourself, Rice, baby. Drula says, it don't matter how far you touch the ball, regardless of distance, it's a yellow. They were told this, so he should have been disciplined. I do agree, if it was Tottenham, I would be screaming. Our midfield now, Jorginho, Odegaard, Partey. That's good enough for beating you. How sure are you now, Angus? You still 65%? Let us know. If Rice hadn't have kicked it, Veltman was prevented from taking the free kick, which should have resulted in a yellow card. Yeah, I get it. I just think it's a little bit thingy, but yeah, it is only Arsenal. Arsenal, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we would all cry if it was going our way. But I said to Jim, if someone's that stupid to give the referee a decision to make, that's their fault. And I say that all the time, whether I agree with a decision or not. If you give the ref a decision to make, it's down to you.
Do you know what, Kate? Right? I wonder how many people, if they're honest, right, if they're really honest, and watched that, would have said that he kicked that ball away. I didn't even think he kicked it away. It looked like to me, when the guy, just before the guy fouled him, his foot and bounced off and went like 6 inches. I mean, let's be honest, it's an absolute pathetic decision in my eyes. I'm sorry, it is.
Well, to be fair, Jim, for the past 23 years, you've been telling me that's 6 inches, so it's quite a way. Angus is now 75% sure that they're going to beat us because it's a more controlled midfield, apparently. Big up, John Michael. All good here. Hope you're well. Regarding the result, Jimbo, you picked Brighton to win 2-1, so got nil points. I picked Arsenal to win 3-1, so got nil points. Nick picked Arsenal to win 2-1, so got nil points. But Chang had the 2-2 draw, so gets a point. So well done, Chang. First on the scoreboard this week. So yeah, onwards and upwards. But like I say, good thing is now, no Rice for the North London derby. So that's one good thing. Next up, we have...
Do you know what, Kate? When we beat them, right, it'll be because they never had Rice. You watch.
I know.
If Rice was playing...
I mean, Angus, we will get into Spurs, but I don't think defensively we're shocking at all. I think we had individual mistakes, but we will get into that in a bit. But you keep telling yourself that you're going to smash us. 115 charges for Chang. He does. He keeps getting those predictions right. Drugs tests in action again. But next up, we've got Leicester Villa, which ended Leicester 1, Aston Villa 2. I didn't watch it. I didn't even watch Match of the Day. I'm not going to lie. But Chang, did you see any of this game?
I did watch the Match of the Day highlights for this on Sunday morning after the Saturday fixtures. And all I will say is I am very, 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 very glad that we have neither Oliver Skip nor Harry Winks in and amongst our squad, because both of them started. No, I will say as it is, because just from what I watched over on Match of the Day, it was a midfield three actually. It was a midfield three for Leicester. Wilfred Ndidi in the middle, and I think Oliver Skip on right midfield and Harry Winks on left midfield. And both Oliver Skip and Harry Winks picked up yellow cards respectively for Leicester City. As far as Aston Villa is concerned, I believe this is the perfect response to them for losing rather undeservedly to Arsenal last weekend. And it was only, I think it was somewhere past the hour mark when Oliver Skip was taken off, where you did see Leicester galvanize themselves to get a consolation goal. But by the time they scored, I think it was too little too late for them to try and get anything out of the match. And Aston Villa were definitely the well-deserved winners of this match. And again, this is one of those matches where I really, count my blessings that neither Harry Winks or Oliver Skip are with the team anymore.
Yeah. Before I just say one thing, I did want to say one thing about the Arsenal game. I thought Raya was exceptional. And I do think, although as Tottenham fans, we do love our Vicario, I think the levels show that Raya is a far better keeper than Vicario. He was incredible against Brighton. But anyway, that's enough of praising them lot. Jimbo, I was expecting, I think all of us predicted Villa to win. I was actually quite shocked it was as tight. Oh, no, I wasn't as shocked because I actually got the score right. I've just looked. Woo, go me. I actually predicted 2-1 to Villa. But from watching, we was watching Soccer Saturday at the end of the matches, and it looked like Leicester had a chance. I think they were more into it in the last 10 minutes. Jim, are you worried about Villa? A lot of people are expecting them to fall off this season.
I'm not worried about anyone, Kate. Simple as that. No one worries me. You think I go to bed when we got to say City in the next morning, or Arsenal the next morning? I go to bed worried. Of course I don't. Of course I don't. On our day, we can beat anybody on our day, so I'm not worried about anyone. No, I'm not worried about Villa. Not worried about City. Not worried about the Gooners. Not worried about Chelsea. Not worried about no one.
There we go. Big up Paul G. Very sad, gloomy office in North London. That's not what we like to see. Well, Jim predicted Villa to win 3-1, so he gets un point. Chang predicted 3-1, so he gets 1 point. Nick predicted 3-0, so he gets 1 point. And I predicted the correct score, so I get 3. Woohoo! I think that's my first correct score so far this season. Auntie Kate, don't gas Angus up anymore. I'm already hearing too much chest. Let him come with the chest. Let him come with as much chest as he wants. Are the likes of Richie and Solanke going to be fit? Yes, Solanke most definitely will, provided he doesn't get another knock. And Van der Ven will. I think Van der Ven was more precautionary than injured. I don't think he's. I think he could have played, but they didn't want to take a risk. So
yeah, he could have played, but they didn't want to risk him.
Yeah. We'll be fine. Big up Barbaric Disdain. What are you drinking, Kate? Looks like you're sucking on a piece of bacon. No, it is Ribena. I don't like the thought of sucking on a piece of bacon. I'm not going to lie. I don't particularly like bacon. That's actually made me feel quite sick. But thank you for that. The next game.
That made Amelia laugh.
Did it? Lee, I would love to say we're coming to the NLD, but we couldn't get tickets, unfortunately. So no, we won't be at the NLD unless something miraculous changes between now and then. We won't. We'll be watching from home. Boo. Got to hope the players don't get injured. But anyway,
VDV is not going to the internationals. He's pulled out.
Ah, good. That's good news. Forest 1, Wolves 1. Anyone want to say anything about this game?
Yeah, I got the prediction right.
So did I. Boom! But anything else?
This is one of those matches for Nottingham Forest in which, unfortunately, Morgan Gibbs-White and the likes of Callum Hudson-Odoi, Anthony Elanga, and the rest of the other, Forest players, they didn't particularly take advantage. I actually had this built as a relegation scrap between Forest and Wolves, and it looked pretty much like that for most part of the game, or from what I could tell on a match of the day anyway. Both goals were just minutes apart of each other within the first quarter of the match, within the first quarter of an hour. So after the scores were level at 1-1, neither side decided to grab the match by the scruff of the neck and go on and win it. So I think both these teams are going to, scrap it out for relegation this season. And if things don't change for either of these teams, yes, they will be relegation candidates. But it's still early on in the season, as it is for any other club, regardless if it's Spurs, Forest, Wolves, Arsenal, City, Chelsea, even United too, for that matter. So between Forest and Wolves, I'm actually backing Forest to come out on top and survive relegation ahead of Wolverhampton Wanderers. But you still never know. It's still a long way to go in the season to go. And I wish both these teams all the very best in the relegation scrap if it does come to that at the end of the season.
Yeah. Big up to Lisa. Says, hi, Kate, Jimbo and Chang. Hope you're recovering from our unfortunate defeat. Big up, Lisa. Lee Smith and Angus, as I said to you the other day, let's see what happens in April after Cadbury's have delivered the Easter eggs, because that's when the wheels fall off. I'm not really got anything to say about this game other than Jimbo and I both predicted 1-1, so we got 3 points each.
If I had to pick a team, if I had to pick a match the weekend and put my life on it, on the score, I would have picked that game 1-1.
Yeah.
To me, it was a bang.
Chang went 2-1 to Wolves and Nick went 2-1 to Forest. So nil point for the two young men, but multiple maximum points for me and Jimbo, the two oldies. So that's all good. Ipswich Fulham. Now, there's a bit of a steward's inquiry going on here, I've got to say, because right. Nicholas, even though he's not here to defend himself, originally went for 3-0 Fulham. And I said, Nick, I thought you was waving the flag for Ipswich being successful this season. He went, oh, yeah, okay, I'll change to 1-1. So his change of mind after my criticism actually got him the 3 points. So I think there's a bit of a stewards there. But look, I'm pleased to see Ipswich get a point. I don't want them to go down. I'm always for the underdogs. I was cheering on Luton last year. Chang, they've got to be pleased with that because Fulham aren't mugs, are they? They've got to be pleased with getting a point at home to them.
This was also another fixture over the weekend that was also dubbed as a relegation scrap, or rather a fight for survival between these two clubs. And from what I was able to gather from a match of the day anyway, the possession was rather even between these two clubs. They had roughly about 50% of the possession, as well as the shots on target. I think it was something like 4 shots on target for Ipswich and 4 shots on target for Fulham as well. And I think the scoreline pretty much reflects that, the 1-0 scoreline. It was also both these goals, much like the Forest and Wolves game, were also scored in the first half. Both the goals for either team, and they were also, I think, minutes apart from each other. And once the score was deadlocked at 1-1, neither of these teams decided to grab the game by the scruff of the neck and try and win it in the next hour or so of normal regulation time. So it's still very early doors. It's still very early days for both these teams, and I still fully expect Fulham to beat the drop ahead of Ipswich. But again, you never know in the game of football, especially one as tightly contested and very fiercely fought here in the Premier League. And as with just like Forest and Wolves, I wish both these clubs, Ipswich Town and Fulham, to survive relegation this season.
Yeah, Jimbo, what do you think? Do you see either of these two going down, or you think they'll be all right?
I was just contemplating, should I put Angus on a timeout?
He's giving it large.
No, I think they'll both be all right, Kate. I think I got that score right, didn't I? Sure I did.
You Ipswich Fulham. No, you said 2-2.
Oh, right.
You said 2-2. Chang said 1-2. I said 1-0, and Nick said 1-1. So Nick got the 3 points, and you got 1 point.
No, I think they'll both be all right. I think Fulham would definitely be all right. Ipswich, I mean, they seem to have settled in all right, don't they?
Yeah,
I think they'll be all right. I hope they are, because I got a soft spot for Fulham because that's where I was born over that way. Well, I weren't born there, but I was brought up there. So I got a soft spot for Fulham and Ipswich, because what's his name? Who does talk sport? What's his name? The big guy.
The drunk guy, Alan Brazil.
Yeah, he drinks a lot. Yeah, he's not a drunk.
But he is drunk a lot.
Well, he played for Ipswich and he played for Tottenham, so I like to see them do well. So I hope they're both all right.
I always thought that Alan Brazil was kind of anti-Spurs whenever he appears on TalkSport. I mean, he does nothing but bash Spurs left, right, and centre every given opportunity on TalkSport.
Yeah, because he expects more from them. That's why he loves it when Tottenham do well. When we're doing well, he always talks well about us. I mean, he was a big part of Tottenham's team at one point. So
I think Gary Lineker's a bit like that.
But neither Lineker nor Alan Brazil are anything like Jason Cundy.
No.
That's true. That's very true. He's got zero respect for Spurs, and that really, really winds Jim up because we paid his wages. Jim can't stand it. He's never said anything nice.
And he was crap for us, and he was with us a fair while, wasn't he? And he was crap for us. So it winds me up when he talks bad about us. It weren't like he was a superstar for us, and he has a right to talk bad. You know, he wasn't good for us at all.
No.
So he's got no right to put us down.
No, he gets great pleasure from it, and it's not good.
I mean, Lineker speaks well about Tottenham. It's only if it's up against Leicester, because he classes himself as a Leicester man, but he classes Tottenham second. So
Destroyspers says Angus, you should worry more about Liverpool than Man City. Man City is Man City. Well, there is that. Going just quickly on that, I had to do. The Terrace asked us to do predictions pre-transfer window, and then after the transfer window, we had to do the same predictions again. And a couple of mine changed, but I stuck with Arsenal to win the league. But I'm just going to say it now. I don't see it happening. I don't see it that they've done enough. And I watch Man City, who we will get onto shortly, and they are completely different gravy, that team. And Liverpool as well. I thought they would have a drop off, but so far they have looked absolutely incredible. So we will get onto that in a minute. Yeah, look, funnily enough, Cundy scored from the halfway line against Ipswich for us. I never knew that. I never ever knew that.
He was still crap for us, though.
Brentford 3, Southampton 1. Anyone got anything to say about this game?
No, nothing at all, because I lost points on this game, so no, let's bypass it.
Chang?
I think I predicted something like a Brentford 2, Southampton 0, and
Correct.
I was able to get the 2-goal margin correct for this game, although I didn't get the correct score. But yeah, Brentford were even Brentford. I think were they? Wait, let me just check. Yeah, Brentford were without Ivan Toney for this match. I've no idea. I've absolutely no idea why he was left out of this game against Southampton. But
Hasn't he gone? Hasn't he gone to Saudi?
He has he?
Has
it been confirmed?
I don't know if it's completed. Let's have a look. I know he's.
I wouldn't be surprised if it has gone. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it has gone.
Yeah, it's completed his move. Yeah.
What a shame, because I thought he really had what it took to succeed in the Premier League, and for him to go to Saudi, just to make back whatever it is that he feels is owed to him, in terms of his wages or his bonuses or whatever it is owed in life. I think. I mean, I wouldn't begrudge him the move, but if it's something that pays the bills for him, take care of his family, then good on him. Yeah, I think the Premier League will be the poorer without him playing in any Premier League club. But despite him not being part of that Brentford team that came up against Southampton, they were clearly the better of the two teams. And if it wasn't for a defensive lapse towards the end of the match, I don't think Southampton would even have got on the score sheet to score that late equalizer at the end of injury time in the second half. So well done, Brentford, for this 3-1 win. And yeah, I think between Brentford and Southampton, I think it's no surprise for me that Brentford are going to be. They should be safe, and if Southampton don't pull up the socks and really take control of their season, I think it might get out of hand very quickly for them, and they will soon find themselves at the very bottom of the Premier League if they're not careful. Southampton.
Yeah, I think it's disappointing that Ivan Toney's decided to go to Saudi. I think it shows a real lack of ambition. I'm sorry. I know people say it's the money, but I just think once you go to Saudi, I get it when people are coming to the end of their career and they do it for their last paycheck, but he's really at the pinnacle of his career. But it is what it is. He's gone to Saudi, and Brentford, I think, will miss him massively. But I think Southampton will go down this year. I'm almost certain.
I think it's a big part of him going to Saudi is that no one else wants him.
Well, yeah, there is that, but
I don't think anybody wants him. I mean, if in normal circumstances, if he had a better attitude, well, I don't think his gambling's got anything to do with it. I think a lot of it's to do with his attitude, because I read that Ange actually spoke with him, and after he spoke with him, said he didn't want him. So I just think that no one wanted him, so he had to go somewhere.
Yeah, there is that. I mean, Osherman, yeah, he turned down a Saudi move. Steve D saying dodged the bullet with Tony shows what his career means to him. Yeah. And I agree. I don't think he'll get back in the England team now. I think that's him. They like to see people playing at the highest level consistently. And let's be fair.
I wonder.
Hang on, Jim. Hang on. Let me finish. I was going to say, let's be fair. Who actually sits and watches Saudi league. I don't think many people do. So I don't see Tony getting back in. Maybe Solanke will take his place. Go on, Jimbo.
I wonder if Thomas Frank told him he wants him gone, but he was acting in interviews like he wasn't bothered if he stayed. Because if that's true, then if I'd have been Tony, I'd have said, no, I'll stay here and show people what I can do.
Yeah.
But, maybe Thomas Frank told him he didn't want him. And, you know, I don't know. It's a weird one for me that because he is a good striker and he does bang goals in, that he's ended up over there.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could have done a job for Arsenal if he's. But again, Arteta met with him, didn't like his attitude, so there's definitely something there. But Brentford, Jim predicted 1-1. Chang, you did 2-0, and so did I, and Nick did 3-0. So us three get a point, and Jim gets 0 points. Should have beat you, but it wasn't for Jesus. We would have beat you. Oh, ifs, buts, and monkey nuts, Anger. Stop crying.
What's he talking about now?
When we got a draw with them at the empty crates. Lisa says, true, Kate, maybe Solanke will get a call up. Big upside dancer, good to see you. Why do we need international breaks? Just as teams are getting into a season, don't make sense to me. I hate them. Agreed. 3 games in already an international break really grinds my gears. But it is what it is. This game, wow. Everton absolutely dominated, smashing Bournemouth all over the place. What was it? 5 minutes to go, maybe less than that. And Bournemouth turned it round and won it 3-2. I can't see Sean Dyche staying at Everton much longer. Chang, how do you see this, matey?
Okay, so as you rightly put earlier, I mean, Everton just did exactly what we did away at Leicester sitting on the opening day. I mean, they should have put the game to bed. They had so many chances to just wrap up the game in the first half, let alone by the hour mark, where I think they were easily good for at least 4 or 5-0 before Bournemouth got their first of 3 goals in the 87th minute. And again, this one is fully on Sean Dyche. If there was any manager who was more culpable for his team's capitulation, this has got Sean Dyche written all of it, because the substitutions were rather strange from Everton when you are leading 2-0 at home. Even when you are packed back at 2-1, you should make some smart substitutions. Sean Dyche didn't do that. The Bournemouth manager, let me see, I think it's Iriola, or however you pronounce his name. He was the one who made the smart changes. Ryan Christie was taken off, as was Evan Nilsson and Araujo, and the substitutions changed the match on its head, honestly. And even at 2-2, I think it was somewhere in the 91st or 92nd minute, you wouldn't have expected Everton to then completely just capitulate, but that's exactly what they did. And I think it was straight from kickoff too as well, no less, where they conceded the third and final goal of the evening to just sum up the miserable afternoon. And as what you mentioned earlier as well, I think Sean Dyche is treading on thin ice himself. I think if there was one manager who will be sacked before Christmas, I would definitely put my money on Sean Dyche to be the first Premier League manager to get a sack before Christmas this season.
Yeah, I think that's a fair call. What do you think, Jimbo? Can you see Sean Dyche lasting much longer at Everton?
Well, I was just going to look for the table. Are they bottom of the table?
They must be. They must be. Are you going to answer me, Jimbo?
Yeah.
Don't leave me hanging.
I don't know. Hello, Nick. You're right.
There's no stewards' inquiries going on. I've been listening. Don't you worry about that. Don't you worry about that, stewards' inquiry.
Oh, I think they're going to lose. Oh, actually, I'll change my mind because I got bartered for it and ended up getting the correct score. I
changed Brentford and I said 3-1 originally, and it was, and then I said 3-0 and it was actually 3-1 So I cost myself
actually.
As well.
You did actually.
There you go.
Well, life's a bitch. Go on, Jim. Sorry.
I mean, I disagree with Steve D what he just said about Everton going down. I'd like to see him go down. I would. Don't do nothing for me. I know he's right about what he says with their heritage and that, but sorry, Steve, I won't miss nothing. I won't miss them if they go down.
Everton.
But, no, I mean they've been hanging on a shoestring, haven't they? Being close to going down, so maybe it's their time. It might do them good, Kate. Sometimes clubs go down and it does them good.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I did Everton 2-1. Chang did 1-0 to Everton. Jimbo did Jim did 2-1 to Everton. Chang did 1-0 to Everton. I did 2-0 to Bournemouth, and Nick did 2-1 to Bournemouth. So me and Nick got a point there. I mean, Nick, you've missed Arsenal, Forest, Leicester, Ipswich, Brentford, and Everton because you've been gallivanting doing Mr. Big Time things. Is there anything you want to say about any of them games?
Well, all I'm going to say is Arsenal crying as usual. It's not a sending off. Why is it not a sending off? It clearly is a sending off. He clearly kicked the ball away. But also the Bournemouth player probably should have got sent off as well, maybe, for kicking out him. So I'm sure Angus has been in the chat, 65% of him crying about it, maybe. I don't know what Angus has been up to. Maybe.
He's going to beat Spurs 75% sure now.
What? Because no Declan Rice. So actually, you lose one of your better players and you go up in percentage, Angus. That makes no sense.
Exactly.
What else happened? Man United. Have we done Man United yet?
No, we're not there yet.
Okay. The rest of them were pretty much as expected. And yeah, have we spoken about Spurs? I guess we've spoken about Spurs.
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
So you're in for all the exciting stuff.
Well, not really, because, I'll just say this, and I said this yesterday. It could be worse, Tottenham fans. We could support Man United. At least with Spurs, we kind of know what we're trying to do. With Man United, they haven't got a clue. So, there you go.
I also did mention a bit earlier before you joined, Mr. Collison, right, about Leicester City and how fortunate we are to not have the likes of Harry Winks and Oliver Skip together at Spurs any longer if you had seen the highlights between Leicester City and Villa.
Yeah, apparently they weren't great. Let's put it that way. But the next one we're going to go on to, I'll go to you first, Nick, seeing as you're the late joiner. West Ham 1, Manchester City 3. Haaland being an absolute bloody machine again. This geezer is just off the charts. What do you make of it, Nick? Have you changed are you swaying from your prediction of Arsenal winning the league to now looking at City going, actually, 3 games in, but these are different gravy?
No, because I think the longer that I keep saying that Arsenal are going to win the league, the better it's working out, right? So I'm using the football gods and the football psychology to keep it that way. I mean, look, Man City can just turn it on when they, turn it on when they want to turn it on. He's like Steve D says, 7 goals in 3 games, 2 hat-tricks. He averages a hat-trick every 9 games or something ridiculous. He's got 2 in 2. I think it's good in a way that it's actually, they're kind of coming under the radar a little bit because everyone's just expecting it. So they haven't signed anyone crazy. They've got rid of Alvarez. They've still got Foden to come back. So yeah, that just tells you that they got Foden's come back. So that just tells you that they normally start poor and they've won 3 and 3. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, it's looking ominous so far for City. And if we get a draw or take points off Arsenal in the North London derby and they go and win again, then that's comfortable. So they can afford to not beat Arsenal in both games because they just need to match the rest of the results. So it's ominous already. But yeah, it's 3 games in, 35 to go. Like with everything, a lot of things can change.
Yeah. Chang, was you expecting West Ham to put up a better fight? Because I think I was expecting them to to be a little bit better?
I did expect them to put up a bit of fight. Yes, I did. I think I did predict West Ham to score at least one in my prediction, if I'm not mistaken. But I think it was the previous weekend, actually, not this weekend, the previous weekend when we were doing the predictions before Man City took on Ipswich, in which they rather surprisingly conceded first in that game against Ipswich. Someone, I think it was either one of us in the panel or someone in the chat mentioned something about wanting to triple captain Haaland that weekend when they played Ipswich. Honestly, you could have triple Haaland that weekend or this weekend. It wouldn't make any difference because that's how good Haaland is. He really can just turn it on. And at this current rate, I think he would easily surpass Harry Kane's current record. And I think he will smash Alan Shearer's record first before Harry Kane even comes back to the Premier League at this current rate, honestly.
Yeah, he is absolutely different gravy. I mean, as Simon said, if Haaland plays for Spurs, we have 9 points because he's just different gravy. Jimbo, is this guy human or is he actually a robot?
Yeah, of course he's human. He has bad games as well, Kate. I've seen games where he goes completely missing. So, yeah, he is human. And I don't think he'll beat Alan Shearer's record, Chang, because I don't think he'll stay at City. I think he might be there a couple more seasons. I think he'll end up at Real Madrid.
Yeah.
That's where I think he'll end up. So I don't think he'll beat Kane or what's it called? Shearer. But no, he is human. I've seen him. I've watched games where he's been non-existent in the game and he's been taken off. So, but yeah, he's a very, very good player. He's kind of, I think he's kind of one-dimensional. He doesn't do a lot. He does what he needs to do. He puts the ball in the net, which is the important thing. But he's not.
Yeah, but he don't do much else.
No, he don't do much else. But he does what he's paid to do, Kate. So yeah, he's a top striker. I'm not saying anything bad against him. Don't think I'm saying bad things against him. But he doesn't do a lot more in a game, does he? But
no.
He does what he's paid to do. He puts the ball in the net. So yeah, he's a fantastic striker. Can't say much more about him than that. He does what he's paid to do.
I mean, 100%. Side Dance says Madders would love a striker like Haaland at Spurs. Katie's done it before; he can do it again. I mean, the Man City West Ham game, both Jimbo and Mr. Chang both predicted 1-3. So you both get 3 points. Nick predicted 1-4, and I predicted 1-2.
Should have been 4-1.
Yeah, so myself and Nick get a point each. So yeah, unfortunately, this game, Chelsea going 1-0 up with Nicholas Jackson, and then Crystal Palace with a certain Eze coming in with an absolute belter of a goal to level it up. I mean, Chang, don't you watch this and think, Daniel Levy, you're such a twat?
I think it's funny that you should bring this up because even when I was doing the watch along with Mr. Colin Sievers over in Talk and Ball, we were actually keeping a close eye on this match as well. And before we scored our equalizer, when I saw on the live scores that Eze had scored that worldie, immediately Colin was telling me, you know what, if we do not win this game, all of your fans will be saying, you know what, you should have got Eze. Eze was the one player who might have helped turn the tide in our favor yesterday against Newcastle United. And well, you never know what could have been, and I think it's not worth trying to cry over spilt milk or try to justify what could have been, because as you rightly mentioned many times before, this is all ifs, buts, and monkeys nuts. So but good for Eze, I think. Very good for him. I think this will do his credentials for the upcoming World Cup qualifiers a world of good, especially if whoever who takes the helm, whoever who takes the reins of the England managerial job is looking for a fresh change, a fresh start when it comes to selecting his players. And yeah, I think you can't go much wrong really with someone like Eze and his potential. And this is the one player which I really do hope that we do get a serious look in at him come January, because I think it's only a matter of time before even the likes of a Real Madrid or Bayern Munich will come sniffing for him, if none of the other Premier League clubs will do that for it as well.
Yeah, you've got a request there, Chang, to say ifs, buts, and you know what's again. It was very eloquently sounding the way you said it, Chang.
I'll tell you what, I think I'm going to limit myself to saying this phrase once per show. If anyone wants to hear this again,
say it once more. Say it once more.
Next time I'm on the show.
Say it once more.
Okay, just for Mr. Boxall's sake, I'll say it once and once only for the remainder of the show. Ifs, buts, and monkeys' nuts.
I love it, Chang. Excellent. Nick, Chelsea are in a bit of a mess. What did you make of that draw at the weekend?
I don't know. I can't remember what I predicted, but I need to start writing them down.
You all predicted Chelsea to win, including me.
Oh, wow. So we're all in the mud.
Yes.
I never predicted Chelsea to win.
Yes, you did. You predicted Chelsea 2-1, Jim.
Did
So
I?
don't even go there. Yes.
Oh.
Carry on, Nicholas.
Don't argue with her, Jim. You know what she gets like. I didn't see it. I wasn't interested. I was pleased that Eze scored because he's in my FPL team, and that's about it, really. But yeah, Chelsea are in a 1 week they go and smash Wolves 6-0, and everyone's going crazy. But then they go and draw at home to Palace, so you can't back if they can't back it up, then it's kind of irrelevant, right? It's a bit like us have all the chances in the world, but if you can't score the goals, then it doesn't mean anything. But yeah, they're in a mess still, but not as in a mess as some.
Exactly. Jimbo, any thoughts on the Chelsea draw?
I thought I predicted 1-1 for that.
No, you predicted 2. Don't start trying to get more point slips. It's all written down in my book.
I'm going to go back and watch the show.
It's all written down in my book.
No, not really. I mean, I didn't get excited when they won 6. What was it? 6 something, 6-3 or 6-4 or something.
6-0, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. They were. No, was it 6-2 or 6-3?
6-2. 6-2.
Yeah. No, well, I didn't get excited. They're a shambles, aren't they? Still are a shambles. So no, the draw doesn't surprise me one bit. Not at all.
Well, that was nil point for all of us because we all had Chelsea to win it. I'll do Man United next, and we do Spurs at the end because that's one to look forward to. Yeah. Manchester United battered 0. Liverpool, the batterer 3. I didn't expect it to be quite that dominant, but Liverpool looked excellent. Diaz bagging 2 and Salah. He's just got the way he controlled that ball and just belted it into the corner. What a player he is. Nick,
I thought Diaz's goal. I think it was his second goal. Was off the charts.
Yeah,
the one was in the bottom corner. That was such a good goal. Honestly, that was a brilliant goal.
I was expecting Liverpool to drop off against under Arne Slot. Nick, what are your thoughts on this lot?
Well, I said Liverpool would surprise some people, and at the moment they're doing that. Look, they didn't look like they got out of third gear yesterday. They didn't look troubled. United are an absolute shambles. And I've got a bit of a theory. I reckon that Southgate will come in January. He didn't take the job at the start of the season because he wanted a rest after England. So he's told Jim Radcliffe and everyone at Ineos that he will take the job, but he'll take it in January. So that's my little suspicion, because it's just a mess. He's got I don't know how they've allowed it to happen. Ten Hag's got 5 players that played from under Ajax and spent all this money, and I just don't understand. It's crazy. You know, it's absolutely crazy. So, look, they're in a mess. Liverpool look good. I think I said 4-0, so I missed out by another goal. So I'm a bit upset. So
Nick, you said 1-1.
what? No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No chance did I say 1-1.
You said 1-1. Jimbo said 2-2. Chang
Jimbo,
said
what's going
2-2, and I said 3-2 to Liverpool. I think I said 4-0. Honestly, these men, they can't accept that they
I'm
get things
dreaming
wrong.
things. I don't know, Jim. I think we want some stewards' inquiries into this. We're gonna have to start writing our own ones down so we remember it.
Do you know what? I'm gonna check, because if I'm wrong, then I need shooting, because I write them down as they're said.
Maybe I said, I don't know. I just had in my head. I said I think I said 4-0, but I don't know. Don't check. It's fine. Don't worry, Kate. It's fine. We'll trust you on this occasion.
I was actually the only one that got a point from this game, because I did Liverpool to win 3-2. Jimbo, what's your thoughts on Man United and Liverpool?
Well, I thought that they'd really be up for this game. I thought they would be better this season. I predicted them to finish fourth. But it doesn't look they don't look any different, do they? And Rashford, honestly, I can't get. I don't think he's had a shot. He's had a shot, has he? Or maybe he had one in the game, but he hasn't had a shot. I think it was if he had a shot against Liverpool, it was his first shot of the season, and he's on 400 grand a week. I mean, yeah. I just honestly, Kate, they're a shambles, isn't they? But Liverpool looked excellent, but I don't think it was hard for Liverpool to look excellent against them because they were all over the gaff. That Diaz's goal when it come to him and he just hit it first time in that bottom corner. I don't think some people realise how good that goal was and how hard it is to do. He's a really, really good player, and there was talk of him going from Liverpool, which surprised me. I think he's a real top player. I really like him. But they look good, Liverpool. You know, Arne Slot's obviously a good manager. I love his interviews. He's very calm. And I watched a one-to-one with him the other day. Someone done an interview with him one-to-one. And he's everything that a manager should be, I think, the way he conducts himself and how calm he is, the way he talks about football. He obviously knows the game inside out. I think they've got themselves a good manager there. And I'm going to make a prediction here. I'm going to make a prediction, right, that this guy, Arne Slot, is going to do a lot better than Klopp did. I think he will. I think he's going to build. I think he's going to build a proper squad there, and give the man time. And I think he'll build a Premier League winning team. I do. I really like Slot a lot. You know, watching interviews with him and the way he is with the press, and yeah, that's what I think. I think he'll build a Premier League winning team.
To be fair, Jimbo, we both desperately wanted Slot, didn't we, before we got in? So, go on, Mr. Chang.
Yeah, this was that. Actually, you just took the words right out of my mouth. I was about to ask Mr. Boxer whether, I mean, this might sound like a loaded question, but now looking at how Liverpool are performing, although I know it's only 3 games into his Premier League manager career, but do you wish we actually had gone for Slot rather than Big Ange, or are you still happy we have Big Ange managing us, Mr. Boxall?
He didn't want us. We did go for Slot. He turned us down. Otherwise, we would have him now.
Look, I'm still behind Ange. We're going to this Ange thing when we talk about Tottenham. I've got a few things I want to say about it, but I think overall. I'm not even overall. We would have been better off with Slot. I think he's gonna turn out to be an absolute Premier League legend. I really do. I think he's gonna do absolute wonders at Liverpool. And we're talking about Man City now, but I think in two seasons we'll be talking about Slot. So that's I think he's grades above Ange. Yeah, he is. But I'm still back Ange, and I still love Ange. But I think Slot's a much better manager.
We did. I've just listened back, and the predictions are actually spot on for what you said. You said a draw. So thank you very much, and good night. The final game of the weekend. Oh, I don't even want to talk about this game.
The wrong way around, Kate.
Oh, and see, this is how much I don't want to talk about it. I've even made us winners. Winner, chicken dinner. Newcastle 2, Tottenham Hotspur 1. Lapses of concentration from certain defenders, Christian Romero. Udogie giving away needless free kicks. Us not finishing our dinner. Brennan Johnson being the player of the match. I mean, Chang, what is there to say about this game? Except it's probably one of the most frustrating matches I've ever watched.
I would just have to call it as it is. And from what I can recall during the live watch along with Mr. Colin Sievers over in Soccer Ball yesterday afternoon, we actually had the better of the chances. And although we did dominate the possession, we did create the early chances. But again, I think it was wastefulness on our part. Although, yes, you could say that our chances were rather limited and most of them were from range. There weren't really big chances as such. But yeah, Odebeer did miss some chances. Although I think that chance that he missed early in the second half, I think that was quite a difficult chance to bring it down and try and get the shot on target.
Not if he'd gone with his head, Chan. So if he'd gone with his head, then he would have been in the back of the net.
Yeah, then again, that is why I think experience counts, Mr. Collison, right? And if
Werner
it was
did the same thing
Richarlison,
last season, right? Werner did the same thing. He should have gone with his head.
Exactly right. And I think this is where we are going to rule missing out on having the likes of Solanke or even Richarlison, a tried and proven Premiership striker in this sort of situations. Because if again, this is a lot of ifs and buts, but Newcastle scored with their first attempt on goal, their first shot on target, and they scored it. And it was courtesy of lapses in defense, lapses in concentration, how they were able to take that quick throw in. No one was really closing anyone down. As Miss Kate already mentioned, Christian Romero, ball watching, not really picking up his marker. And the less said about that second goal, the better, because that goal right there, I mean, I'm all for Big Ange trying to be brave, trying to play the high line, but you have to ask yourself, why are we playing that high line when we still have our full complement of 11 players? If, let's say, we were down to 9 or 10 men, then yes, it does make sense, like what happened last season at home against Chelsea. But 11 against 11, especially when the stakes are so high in a game that was still so evenly poised, to defend so high and then to leave ourselves exposed to a one long ball over the top, I think that is something that we will just have to prepare ourselves and ride this uncomfortable wave of criticism from the fans. Because believe you me, I think this is going to be a recurring theme for the remainder of the season. I think we're going to see a lot more of this for the remainder of the season, and it's not just going to be the Premier League. I really fear for Big Ange and also our cup runs, whether it's your domestic cups, whether it's the Europa League. Can you imagine if Big Ange actually still persists with this high line of defending without Van der Ven as our centre back in the cup games or even in Europa? We would absolutely get slaughtered. Don't even think of going to Turkey or to Scotland or wherever it is where we feel comfortable winning there. Even the likes of going to Sweden or to Switzerland or even Turkey, this might even prove to be tricky ties if Big Ange does persist with this suicidal high line, which I feel is honestly one step forward and two steps back. If we have, a sweeper keeper, let's say if we still had Lloris and he was a good sweeper keeper, he'll be rushing out soon as he saw something like that happen. We saw Vicario just standing his ground, not doing anything about it. And without Van der Ven to, sprint back and cover for the lapses in concentration, I think this is going to be something that is going to come back to bite Big Ange in the back. And if something doesn't give, if he doesn't do something about this, I think it won't be before long before even the most faithful of us will be calling for his back before the end of the season.
Yeah, look, I hear you. First of all, I want to say I am having doubts about Ange. I'm not going to lie, but I don't think yesterday was particularly on Ange. I think a lot of it was individual mistakes and errors and not being able to score. I think Vicario needs to learn how to catch a ball. He punches all the time, and it makes me so nervous. Nick, what did you make of it?
Well, the fact that Brennan Johnson was probably our best player says it all, doesn't it? So,
yes.
Look, he's far better coming off the bench than he is starting. I think the other thing that there's a problem is his touch. Look, he got lucky for the goal. First, Pope, I don't know what Pope was doing because he could have just caught it. I don't know why he's trying to shovel it around the post or doing what he's doing. Then Brennan Johnson mishits it. And then obviously it goes in off Dan Burn. I think the other thing with Brennan Johnson, I think that the players aren't quick enough to keep up with him because every time he puts the ball in the middle, there's no one there.
Yep.
So there's that issue as well. Look, Romero for the first goal, I don't know what he's doing thinking he's a striker. I mean, there's 2 or 3 times that I saw him and I'm like, what are you doing? Up the pitch, you need to get back. You're supposed to be the senior defender, the most experienced defender, and you're nowhere. He was switching off, he was pointing his arms. It was back to watching Højbjerg again. And
oh yeah, Højbjerg.
Højbjerg giving it the old points, right? But yeah, I mean, look, I don't think the defence, I think the only person in defence that did okay yesterday was Dragusin. And unfortunately, like Chang says, I think it's going to be it's like with everything, it's going to be kind of rinse repeat. We dominate possession, we dominate the chances. We're not good enough in terms of the players aren't good enough to put the chances away. And then we'll get hit on the counter-attack. And, the same thing happened at Leicester. The same thing happened at Newcastle. The same thing happened the back end of last season. We're not learning. And I just think it's what it's crying out for me is like we've been saying is 3 at the back. But we're not, because then that gives Porro and Adoji sort of a bit more of a license to go forward. But yeah, I'm kind of at peace with it. I'm not. It is what Tottenham do. I don't know why. I don't know why we're surprised. I think for me, the players again, let Ange down, and unfortunately, like with all managers, the players will always let the manager down because they know that it's easier to get rid of the manager than it is to get rid of them. Because ultimately, they've got a contract. Someone needs to want to sign them. Then someone needs to pay the money that Tottenham want. And yes, the performances have been good. Yes, they've been encouraging, but it's the results at the end of the day. We go into that international break. We could have been on a high. We could have been, 3rd or whatever we would have been, or 4th, going into that North London derby. And now it's a bit like, we had a bit of momentum with Rice being sent off. We had a bit of an advantage there. We're at home, and we had a chance to kind of wrestle a bit more and a bit more optimism. And then we've let it slip through our grasp again. But how many times have we said that over the years? If there's a chance to go 3 points clear, if there's a chance to go ahead, if there's a chance to cement a place, we don't take that opportunity, and that's not Ange, that's Tottenham Hotspur. We just don't take our opportunities. I guess probably in 2 seasons' time we might actually win at Newcastle because we're getting better. It's just like one of those grounds that the players walk into. It's 6-0, 4-1, 2-1. Next year maybe it'll be a draw. And the year after, and then so maybe in 3 years' time I might go to Newcastle away again. I don't know, but we made Newcastle aren't anything special. There's that we could have put some real pressure on Newcastle and Eddie Howe by winning yesterday, because the way they've started their season, and again we didn't. And it's another opportunity. It's another dropped 2 points at least. Maddison. Again, wasn't great. He did okay, rolling around on the floor again. We just need to see some consistency. Unfortunately, we've now got a break, and then we're really going to see between now and the next international break. There's a hell of a lot of games, so we're going to see what we're made of. And if we go into the next international break and we haven't, we haven't improved, let's just say, and we lose that North London derby, and not just lose it, we do like what happened to Man United yesterday. We don't turn up and Arsenal wipe the floor with us. Then we play the European game and we scrape over the line with a last minute winner. Or if we're not seeing things improve, it's going to be I don't really see who there is to come in, and Ange will never change. And it's just I just want us to win games of football. We're playing well, but I just want us to win games of football. We're not getting the rewards, and we don't get rewards for performances, and the players keep coming up and saying the same things. We just need to get it over the line and put a run together. So, but do we think we'd probably lose one of these first three? Probably. So, is it the end of the world? Probably not. I think it's just the manner. I think it's just the manner of the way that we played. It's firstly at Leicester and at Newcastle, and we came away with 1 point out of those. And our away form is a real worry.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
Jimbo. I mean, what do you make of it?
Look, let's not all have a meltdown. Let's not have a meltdown. All right, we played well and we lost. I got my Romero shirt on today, right? In support of him.
I wish he'd have worn it. The silly
right.
bastard.
Look. Right. He that second goal, he was holding the line, and Dragusin was actually the one who played Isak onside. So if it had been followed the line of the defence, then Isak would have been offside, and he played him onside. He went too quick with him. So it's more than one person's fault. Look, we can't let's not single out players in that defensive line.
Yeah, but he was rubbish yesterday, Jimbo. He was rubbish. I'm sorry, but he was complacent.
I think the whole defence let us down yesterday, Kay. I don't think it was just one. No. Right? I think it was the whole defence let us down. If Dragusin would have held the line, he would have been offside, Isak.
I thought Dragusin had an excellent game. Yeah,
but I'm not saying he never had a good game. What I'm saying is he went too quick. If he'd have held the line, Isak would have been offside. So it would never have been a goal. But look, we created a lot of chances. We missed Richie and we missed Solanke and we missed VDV yesterday. It's a bit early in the season to start having meltdowns and writing us off. It's 3 games in. Let's have a bit of perspective on it. Let's look more in like 6, 7, 8 games, see where we are. I was gutted yesterday, Kate. You saw me. I was absolutely gutted because it was a game I thought that we should have won. And it was hard to take because we was the better team over the 90 minutes, and I thought the much better team as well. And we did. I just saw someone put in chat, we fell right into their hands, which we did. I would have liked to have seen not such a high line yesterday because VDV weren't in. So it's hard for me because I can see where we're heading. I can see that he's got a plan. And it's the team implicating it properly,
implementing
it properly. It's hard to take sometimes, losses like that. But because I thought we was the better team, so look, I'm just going to bypass it and think to myself, it was a bad day at the office for him. Let's just hope it doesn't continue. But if it continues, something will happen, and there will be changes at Tottenham. So Levy's not going to stand for it. So we just got to have faith in the players and in Ange, and that he can get it across to them what they got to do. But they've got there were some lapses in concentration yesterday, which professional footballers shouldn't be doing, And some of the misses on goal, like Sonny had one, he came over the bar. He seemed to have panicked a bit, and they're professional footballers. They shouldn't be doing that. And they've had Ange for a season now, so this season we should be kicking on. But I'm not going to come down on them too heavy. I'm just going to bypass it. What's happened has happened. I'm not going to melt down. I'm going to wait and see what happens over the next few games. North London derby's massive, absolutely massive. It's huge.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I mean, I don't think Dragusin, I thought he was excellent yesterday. And I think Romero, I'm not sure his head is entirely at Spurs. But if he don't want to be here, he should just piss off. Because he cannot be dropping with his concentration like that. I mean, look, someone put a post out this morning, which I thought was quite true. And it's been liked by a lot of people. But they said it was Daniel Leveme who actually comes into this room. He said nobody can blame Ange Postecoglou for taking the biggest promotion of his career, despite him being way out of his depth. We'd all do the same. Blame the clown that hired him, i.e. Daniel Levy. I do think Ange is a little bit out of his depth. I look at our team now, and I think we've got a really good defensive line. The 4 defenders that we've got with the wing backs. I look at the forward line yesterday. I know we missed Solanke and Richie, but I think we've got a good team now. I just don't think Ange's tactics are making the best out of this team. Nick, am I being overreactive?
No. Look, I think it's, you know, if you look at what you said, everyone will sit there and say, no, that's it. I mean, I've seen the meltdowns from last night that Jim's talking about. You know,
I didn't see any meltdowns. I've only read meltdowns. I don't watch other channels because it's, to me,
no.
Very few channels. I watch very few channels now.
You can choose your mood, and I don't let Tottenham affect me anymore because I know what to expect. I don't expect if I don't expect anything, then I can't be upset or I can't be pleased. So I refuse to go on this roller coaster. You know, because what will happen is we beat Arsenal next week. Oh, we're winning the league. I mean, that's what nonsense will come out, and then we'll go and lose to Ipswich or something. Do you know what I mean? Oh, that's it. The end of the, you know, it needs to stop. We need to look. For me, the players. Some of these players aren't good enough. It's clear that they aren't good enough. And whether you blame that the way that they were bought, they were scouted, they were trained, they're trained on the training pitch, whether that's Mason, that's Jedenik, that's Ange, that's whoever is at fault. I think what you need to realise is that everything at Tottenham is someone's fault, and they all get a slice of the pie. How big it is depends on, I guess, how you feel, but everyone is to blame for the situation we're in. The fans, the players, the board, the manager, the scouts, the spotty teenagers that don't know how to let people into the stadium. They're all, everyone's to blame, right? But what we must stop, and I agree with Jim, is we must stop this massive overreaction. You can criticise a player. You can criticise a player on that game. Like I sent a message to Jacob going, Jacob, what's your boy doing today? He pulls one tackle out. Oh, where's the message? And I'm like, Jacob, come on, mate. He's been rubbish. He was at fault for the goal. No, he wasn't at fault for that first goal. What's he doing in the centre forwards position? And this is not a dig at Jacob before someone goes, oh, Barry was saying this about Jacob. But what we need to do is we need to be consistent about it. There's no way Romero should have been in that position. Dragusin should have maybe covered Romero's position. But for the second goal, Romero was ball watching. He was just watching Isaac. He was watching the ball, and Isaac was doing it. And then Porro was doing the same thing. He was watching. He wasn't watching what he was doing, and the ball goes out of play and everything else.
It lapses the concentration, Nick.
Exactly, and that shouldn't happen. So whether that is ultimately the player's fault, but Ange can only do so much. The players have to go out on that pitch, and they have. If they lose concentration like that, and you get punished once, I get it. But twice yesterday, we got punished for a lack of concentration. And that's what's, the same against Leicester. If it was Everton, we again, was there a lack of concentration that we didn't go out and get 5, get 6, get 7? You could argue that. We won 4-0, but it wasn't an amazing 4-0. It wasn't like a Liverpool 3-0. We were out of third gear. And I think we just, I don't know what it will be, but we just need to be able to just be a little bit level-headed, see where we are at the end of the season, because there are concerns. And you know what will happen? I know exactly what will happen in that North London derby. The crowd will be loud. Then Tottenham won't start very well. Then the moans and groans will happen. Then Arsenal will score. Then the players' heads will go down. Then we'll moan and groan some more. And then we'll lose, or we might put up a little bit of a fight like we did last year. And that's exactly what happens every home game. The atmosphere against Everton, and Jim and Kate, you were there, I thought it was rubbish. Like, no one was really singing. I know it was a bank holiday weekend, but it wasn't great. If you want to see an atmosphere, the atmosphere we need to replicate is the atmosphere from the fans of the away games. You could hear them again clearly over against Newcastle's team. The fans that were in Korea, Japan, and anywhere else that we went and had pre-season trainings, that's the type of support we need to do from minute 1 to minute 90, regardless of what's happening.
Yeah, Nick, do you think if Solanke and VDV were playing, it would have been a different score?
Yes, 100%. Because I think the trouble is that they're playing in the way that they would have worked the system or tried for everything for Solanke is that there's someone in there in that box getting in on the end of those crosses. Because when you looked at it, they all
that's what I mean by out of his depth.
They all looked a little bit lost, though, didn't they? Maddison looked lost. Son again, for me. Oh, you can't say anything about Son. Another away game where he didn't really do anything, and that's worrying. And you have to be able to sit there and critique it without saying, is Son a fantastic player? Yes, on his day, he's a fantastic player. Has he gone missing? And this is what I mean about the away form. The away form is the thing that is maybe having more of an impact than the home form. That's the issue. Do you know what I mean? The away form, Son missing at Leicester, Son missing at Newcastle. But then the players coming on, Timo Werner, Bergvall didn't really do anything. I thought there was a red. The only thing that I'm thankful of from yesterday is that there wasn't a red card, because that game looked like there was going to be a red card all day long. Yeah. And that's another thing that we're not clever enough. 4 of their midfielders were on yellow cards.
Yep.
And we didn't try and engage them to get them sent off. And that is, for me, that shows the naivety of these players. Because if that was me, I'd be turning around and going, those 4 are all on yellow cards. Run at those players and draw the foul and get one of them sent off. And then that game opens up and it's easy. But we're not, Jose Mourinho said it all that time ago. We're not clever enough. We just try and be nice,
Look, Peter, when I say he's naive, what I mean is we had VDV out. We had no sort of striker. And yet he doesn't tweak it or change the system. And it needed to be changed yesterday to fit in with the players we had available. That's what concerns me. I don't doubt he's a great manager, and I don't doubt he can bring success to this club. However, I do think sometimes you've got to be a little bit more flexible with changing things up. And that is what concerns me. I don't think it's naivety. I don't know if it's stubbornness or what. I just think he needs to sometimes, like Nick said, 3 at the back maybe, or just change it up. Van de Ven is a massive loss for us. When he's not playing, it's a completely different team because he mops up all the loose balls.
Yeah,
I like you said, if there was a choice of who we'd want to get rid of, I said I'd get rid of Romero now over Van de Ven.
All day long.
I just want to echo what you said there, Kay. I think yesterday the line should have been dropped back a bit. I think that was our undoing. I think if he'd dropped the line back a bit. I know he likes to play this high line, but if he'd have tweaked it a bit, I think it might have been a different story. It's frustrating to watch, and I feel for Ange because I think he's a good manager. I really do think he's a good manager, and I think that he's got if he had the right players, he would definitely win stuff. But it was painful yesterday. I mean, there was one point we never had one player in our half, and you and me was watching it, and I didn't say nothing to you, but I thought to myself, shit, if we lose the ball and they move quick, we're in trouble here. There wasn't one player in our half. They were all way forward. And when you haven't got Van de Ven, that's a massive worry. So, I can see what you're saying. I'm a massive fan. of Ange, and I will still back him 100%. And I still want the club to stick with him and move on with him. But you're right, he does start to need to tweak things. And I was hoping after last season we might see that a bit this year, but so far, no.
Why isn't he changing it? I've no idea. I mean, I can only assume that he has this philosophy and he says that's his philosophy and that he'll never change it. But in the Premier League, you can't be that, I don't know if this is even a word, unflexible. Is that a word?
Naive.
Like naive. Well, I don't like saying naive because I think it sounds a bit condescending, but you have got to be flexible and change it to what you've got available. If you've got a team that are brilliant strikers, say with Haaland, but they haven't got Haaland, they're going to change it. City are going to change it. Pep's going to change it. Ange doesn't do it. He insists on playing the same way no matter what personnel are available. And that is what worries me. Stubborn, yeah. I think a lot of it is stubborn, which I respect him for sticking to his philosophy, but at the same time, sometimes you have got to just give a little and change it up. I mean, I think if you'd have had Dragusin with Porro and Udogie as a three at the back would have worked better yesterday. But look, it is what it is. I'm not a football manager. I don't claim to be. I'm just a silly bird that sits on YouTube chatting away. But that is what concerns me. And I think that is where the fans get wound up, the fact that he doesn't ever change it up where it needs to be changed. But look,
I mean, I was going to say what Henry just said there. I think what will happen is I don't think Ryan Mason will be in charge. I think that they have someone lined up. If they're thinking of getting rid of him, they get someone lined up before he goes. I don't think that even Levy would be stupid enough to put Ryan Mason in charge again.
No, I mean, a lot of people say
Look, we're 3 games in. Let's not lose faith. It's 3 games in. Let's just crack on, see what happens from here.
Yeah, look, it is what it is. I mean, Nick was the only one who predicted Newcastle to beat us. Thing was, when I did my predictions on Irish Hotspur, I said I don't know whether to go for 2-1 or 2-2, and I'm bloody done 2-2. The silly cow. I'm stopping being negative from positive. I'm going back to being negative. Kate. It works better. So anyway, this week Nick got 8 points, Jimbo got 8 points, Chang got 6 points, and Kate got 10 points. So woo me.
What's that again? What did I get?
You got 8.
And you got 10.
You get 2 results right, and he only got 8 points.
Yep, I got 2 results right as well, but I got 10.
So what's the standings
so
now?
the overall standings, it is in 4th place me with 20 points, in 3rd place Jim with 21 points, in 2nd place Chang with 25, and in 1st place Nick with 26. Drugs test on the skinny man.
Peter says their biggest problem is clinical finishing. Hopefully, Peter, when Sri Lanka gets in,
Sri Lanka.
When Sri Lanka gets in,
cricket, Jimbo.
Sri Lanka gets in, that we'll see a bit more better finishing. But he's right. There were some terrible shots yesterday.
Well, in our 2 away games this year, that's away to Leicester and away to Newcastle, we've had 35 shots. So, someone's not putting them shots away.
Yeah.
If I may say something to this effect, I think it's not even clinical finishing. It's just getting a finisher. I think what we really like right now is a proper finisher. But because if you were to watch back that own goal that Newcastle put in the back of the net, that goal, that shot, that ball was actually traveling out. Nick Pope actually done enough to divert the ball away from the goal mouth. So if it wasn't for the Newcastle defender on the line, who somehow or other he managed to blast it into the roof of his own net, I believe we wouldn't even have a shot on target from there if it wasn't for that Newcastle player. So I think it's not so much of the finishing, but actually getting a proper finisher. And that, for me, I think is the story of the first 3 matches of our league campaign so far, whereby Richarlison, we only saw glimpses of him towards the end of the Everton game, as well as the Leicester City game. And yesterday, we were missing a proper finisher up front. I really do hope that we get someone back in time for the North London derby, because I absolutely dread to think what might happen if we are without either Richarlison or Solanke again in 2 weeks' time. So I really hope the medical staff pull up their socks now. This is the time where the medical staff really need to earn their keep. They really need to be counted for, and just keep our fingers crossed, I guess, that we'll be better off in 2 weeks' time when the mini international break is over.
Okay,
I have done a poll. Hang on, I have just put a poll in the chat. Are you Angie in or Angie out? So please do vote, and we'll have a look in a couple of minutes. Go on, Jim. What was you going to say?
That last one, where it says about the goals, the defensive. There was it. Who said it?
Oh, this. Not sure about this meltdown.
Yeah. Look, I agree with him. I agree with you that it's not. I don't think we've got a bad defense. I think we've got a good defense. But I think they've got to learn that the way they play with the high line, that they've got to be switched on for 95 or 100 minutes, however long we play. You can't switch off, in the Premier League, especially against someone with the likes of Isak in there. You've got to be switched on all the time, and they switched off for that second goal. They weren't switched on at all. So it's not that we got a bad defence. It's just that they got to be switched on, and the money they get paid, be switched on.
Yeah, I mean, Yusuf says, where does the buck stop? Where's the point where you say enough's enough? For me, if we get to sort of January, Christmas time, say Christmas, we're sitting. I don't even care where we're sitting in the table, but if we're not winning games and we're seeing this lack of adaptability, that would be me, Dan. I'll say enough's enough, because he has got to start adapting to what he's got in front of him. But Jim, what about you?
Well, the buck stops with Levy. It's as simple as that. Because
but when's enough is enough where you say this isn't working with Ange Postecoglou?
I mean, it could be 3 games, it could be 10 games. If we lose 3 or 4 games on a row, it's going to be he's going to be gone, isn't he? We won 1, drew 1, and lost 1. So if he loses the next 4, the buck stops there, and he's probably going to be out the club. But it's hard to say, Kate. That's something because he might win 3 on a row and then lose 3 on a row, then win 2 on a row, lose. So it's what
I think we got a very easy September, right? I think we've got a relatively easy. Arsenal aside, we've got Coventry, Brentford, Qarabag, and Man United. I mean, look, if we don't win 4 of those games out of 5, then questions it's gonna start rumbling on, right?
Well, we're in September now, so if you look at Christmas, if we're struggling, if it's going to be a massive struggle to get in the top 4, then he's going to be gone. It's as simple as that.
I don't even think, Jimbo, either. October's not that difficult, apart from Brighton away, Ferencváros, or however you say, Brighton, West Ham, AZ Alkmaar, Crystal Palace.
It's all to do. See, it's all to do with Levy, right? It's all to do with the top 4. That's what Levy wants. We know that because that's where the money is. So it depends how far away from the top 4 we are to what happens, with the sackings. So if he's near top 4 and we've got a good chance of finishing in the top 4, he'll keep him. If we haven't, he'll get rid of him and bring someone in who thinks who can get us in the top 4. Because we all know. Look, I'm not going to be delusional. We all know with Levy, it's not about trophies. It's about top 4. It's about trophies for us and for the manager and for the players. It's about trophies. But for Levy, it's about top 4. And that's just a fact, and no matter how delusional we are about the club, there's no one more delusional than me, but I ain't that delusional, though I know that he wants top 4 and he's happy with that.
We've got Coventry 2 days after Arsenal. Yeah, they've got Atalanta, and then I think they've got I think they've got us, then Atalanta, and then City, Arsenal as well. So, I mean, Richarlison, I can't cope with Richarlison. He's just never, ever, ever fit. He drives me out the frigging wall. Lisa says, I agree. Enough is enough by January. If he cannot recognise that, he has to adapt his tactics to game situations to get the best out of his players, then let his stubborn ass go back to Scotland. That's why some fans want. Yeah, I get it. I understand why people want Levy gone. I just don't. harp on because I don't think there's anything you can do about it. So some things you can't change. Well, I did the poll, good 5 minutes. Angie in 72%, Angie out 28%. If you go to certain other channels, that'll be a completely different reading. But majority in this room want Angie. And I think if we do a poll at December and things aren't changing, that might be a different story. But again, if we sack new manager, we're going back in the same roundabout that we keep going in.
You know what, Kate? It's so fucking frustrating, right? Because if Levy concentrated as much on the football as he did about the everything else to do with Tottenham, we'd be the best in the Premier League.
Yeah,
he's made everything else some of the best in the world. What he's done with the club, but not the football. He needs to concentrate on the football. You know, I said last season, if he doesn't concentrate on the football this season, he's going to lose me as a supporter. You know, because I do like what he's done with the club in so many respects, but it's getting so frustrating now with the football side of it. If he'd have brought Eze in, would have been a massive statement. Just go and lay out the money. You know, it's not like the club's not making money; they're making more money than anyone. You know, it's so frustrating. It really is.
It is. But yeah, anything else anyone wants to add before we finish up?
Well, we're not going to win against Hoffenheim because I'm going.
Oh, are you going to the Hoffenheim match? Excellent.
Yeah. I'm booking my flight later. So yeah, apart from that, no, look, I just think look, like I said, September, October is going to be it is September now, but only just. Which is crazy. But the games are going to come thick and fast, right? We've got 4 games in 9 days 5 games in 14 days once we get back from the international break. And then again, October's pretty busy until the next international break. So look, the players need to stay fit. The players that go away on international duty need to come back. We won't mention that Milan are absolutely shocking, and they were winning 2-0 and then they drew 2-2. They were winning 1-0 at the weekend. They went 2-1 down and then got it back to 2-2.
Dear, oh dear. The Royale effect.
They've not started very well. Let's not have no agendasons here. They're not doing very well, Paul. But look, North London derby, we've got a bit of a break. We don't need to worry too much about Spurs ruining our mood. But I just said, look, once you're at peace with it, you'll still be angry about it. But once you're at peace with it, you'll certainly enjoy the football a little bit more rather than this. You know, some people that I see or speak to, I just say to them, I don't know why you're letting Spurs define your mood, because they can seriously define your mood. But look, it is what it is. It's not what it's not. And we can only do what we can do. So, look, 2 weeks, 2 week break. Exactly. And then we start getting ready for the North London derby and then see what happens with Angus and see what nonsense he's going to say in. So,
yeah. Obviously, we've got an international break. So we're actually away next Monday and Tuesday. But this Friday as well, it's my and Jim's wedding anniversary and our son's 18th. So there won't be a stream on Friday or Monday or Tuesday for sure. But I will be doing some streams, or we'll be doing some streams building up to the North London derby with some Arsenal fans coming on, giving it loads of chest like Angus, I'm sure. Chang, anything you wanted to say before we finish up?
I think... Yeah, I will put up a rallying cry to our fans, telling them to just give Big Ange time. I just really do hope that the North London derby will be something to be remembered rather than to be dreaded or even to be, regretted after the final whistle. It's only 3 games into this new season, and if you look at the first 3 games, it's 1 win, 1 draw and 1 loss, which isn't too bad when you put it into context. That's 4 points. 4 points from a possible 9. And we have played more away games than we have home games. The first away game wasn't too good. We were lucky to get away with that with a point. The second away game yesterday, I think we could have at least had a point, maybe even more, had we had a proper finisher. But, again, those defensive lapses that Swiss the highline meant that we came away with nothing. But the one big positive would be the Everton home game, and that is what I really am hoping for come the North London derby. The fans more than ever. You really need to make yourself, you really need to stand up and be counted for. Come the kickoff whistle, or even before the kickoff whistle too, for that matter, during the North London derby. So let's just enjoy this international break. I think Miss Kate herself has already said, and also Mr. Collison, right? He's already said it himself that there's nothing that's going to ruin our coming weekend. So let's just kick back, let's just relax, and don't. I mean, a loss is a loss, but let's not try and make this an overreaction. We'll just have to wait and see if we get the likes of Richarlison or even Solanke back, and let's just hope for the best. But without further ado, I'm going to sign off by saying, "Come on, you Spurs!"
That made me jump, Tank.
People should remember at the end, if you've got headphones in, you need to turn them down or take them out and go to blow your eardrums.
Exactly. Listen, thanks to everyone for watching. I have set up a redirect to Ben's channel at 2, so it will take you over there. Big up to Harmless Potato for being a member for 3 months. Thank you very much. Jimbo, you was going to say something?
Yeah, I want to answer Fiona. She asked a question to me, if you have a look, about Levy. So I didn't want to ignore it. I don't blame Levy for if Ange says he wants the players that come in and he got them, then I don't blame Levy for that. Levy's done a lot of good for this club. There's no argument about that. And I think there's not a person who supports Tottenham can't say he has done some good for this club. But I think Eze was a massive thing for Ange, for the club, for the supporters. It would have given that extra lift, and it would have given us that extra bit of oomph on the pitch. And I think that was a massive mistake, letting that go by. He could have triggered his clause, and we could have got him in. And I think that would have turned our season on its head. So I do blame him for that.
But I also agree with that. Just because Ange said that they're his players don't mean that's true. Would you call out your boss on live TV? Exactly, when you're being paid millions of pounds.
No.
But anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Please smash a like on the way out. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Chang. Jimbo, it's got to be down to you to end the show, as always, in only the way you can.
Gooners? Who the fuck are the Gooners? 2 weeks' time, Gooners, you're going to get your asses fucking smashed all over the place in our house. This is what you'll be looking at the end, thinking, fuck them, they fucking smashed us. Come on, you Spurs.